Caller here. I wanted to show you a report here and kind of outline it a little bit from NSS Labs. If you've never heard of NSS Labs before, NSS Labs is a group of researchers that will take today's technology, services, and equipment and apply it to their lab, apply some attack vectors against it, and really kind of map out from a non-biased approach how the other players stack up in the competition. And this is the latest one, the SVM or Security Value Map. It was released on June 6th of 2017. You'll notice the products tested are a number within our portfolio. We see Checkpoint here, Cisco Firepower version 6.1, which is an important note here. The FortiGate 3200D and 600D both were running 5.4. Currently, we're at 5.6, so that's something to call out. Palo Alto Networks, a 5250 with PAN-OS 8.0, which is the first one I've seen of actually doing testing with PAN.8. And then we've got the traditional SonicWall Sophos, which we can actually distribute through our partnership with Sophos, and then WatchGuard, as well as Checkpoint here at the top. And Barracuda too. We can also do Barracuda with our agreement with Barracuda. But what I wanted to show you here is this map. And this map is kind of really important to understand, especially when you're having conversations with security engineers as well as CSOs, CIOs, and IT directors. What you actually see here is a evaluation map, and there's both an X and Y axis. X-axis has a value between $0 and $200 of protected port, as well as the Y-axis here is between security effectiveness. So, meaning as the solution was stood up, it starts off with a dot, and as vulnerabilities or security controls are bypassed, you'll notice that they will go back to the vendor and they'll recalculate, reconfigure, and then they provide a final value score. So what this document kind of tells you is, from a price point comparison, the highest cost per megabit protected, basically meaning the most expensive solution on this map, is actually the Juniper Network solution. And its overall security effectiveness score, when compared to the competition, is not all that great. You really want to be in this upper right-hand quadrant, or listed as a green circle. And let me kind of zoom in here a little bit. So you'll see here, as we talk about Checkpoint, or ForcePoint rather, in Cisco, out of the gate, they provided 100% protection with no changes or modifications required by the vendor to fix this. ForcePoint in general, I've noticed a few of these documents. ForcePoint used to be WebSense, which then turned to Raytheon, which now it turned to ForcePoint. And they are by far one of the leaders in this space when it comes to next-gen firewall technologies. Really what it comes down to is a number of systems that they've kind of built with their web appliance, as well as their acquisition with Raytheon, which is actually a military contract solution used by the federal government. So overall, ForcePoint always seems to be listed as one of the top providers. But you actually will see here is when we looked at Palo Alto, for example, as it came in, we saw around a 20 megabit per port charge. Overall security effectiveness score was kind of below average. The below average line is listed right here. Overall cost average line is listed here. So they were actually coming out of the gate with a smaller or a worse protective score with a higher than, I guess you would say, the normal when it came to price points, which is pretty accurate from what I have seen here recently. Checkpoint, Juniper, for example, highest cost per port out of the report here, lowest overall security effectiveness score. Interesting on this comment here, traditionally Barracuda and SonicWall, they've always been kind of known as the cheap solution that provide the not the great security. But ironically in this report, it actually shows up that they provided the least amount of protection at a higher cost per megabit port than Palo Alto Networks, which I thought was actually kind of interesting. But you kind of will see the score, what the lines represent. You really want to be a green dot. If you're not a green dot, you want to kind of show where you are out of the gate from no effectiveness score. And then as NSS Labs reached back out to the partner for fixing some of the vulnerabilities or some of the security holes that they found, you want to see this line then increase back up to the 100% protective score. As you'll notice, there's only one partner in this group, ForcePoint, that is at 100%. Unfortunately, we do not distribute ForcePoint or have access to that. Cisco, Checkpoint, Fortinet, Sophos, as well as Palo Alto, we do. Again, any questions on this, please feel free to reach out to me. Great report. I will also put a link to this report within the YouTube report here. So any questions, feel free to reach out. Thanks very much. Have a great day.